future years test over because this will be placed in our classroom to use for future years. So they will need to know the operator's manual and have safety tests over it before they are allowed to use it.
So pretty much.
Got it. Got it. I hope it makes that noise too when you do it.
Oh yeah, we have sound effects.
Sound effects.
That would be
Sound effects.
absolutely amazing.
For sure.
Hello, we are Team Whole Clean, and this year the product that we made was a hypochlorous acid generator, and that was created to help our school fight off COVID-19.
So what is hypochlorous acid? Hypochlorous acid, or HOCl for short, is a weak acid that's found naturally in all mammals. It is produced in the body in response to injury and infection and kills viruses and bacteria. There's two main components to understand: the pH, or the acidity of the solution, which is the lower the number, the more acidic; the higher the number, the more basic. Ours operates between 5 and 6, which is roughly the acidity of milk, so it's very safe. The other component is the ppm, or parts per million, of chlorine in our solution. Ours is produced at 200, which is very effective, and it slowly degrades over time.
Hello, we would like to demonstrate how exactly our machine works, our hypochlorous acid generator. So we have this on and off switch, which is it cuts the power. So when you flip it on, it brings power to the controller. And at the beginning of the startup of our machine, it blinks both of our lights and our beeper just to ensure everything is working properly. So you get your welcome message and hit OK. And it gives you 3 different options. You have a hypochlorous acid cycle, an input debug, an output debug, and an option to vend HOCl. We currently have a gallon of HOCl in the tank, and we would like to vend it out just to show you how that works. So I'm going to hit the number 4, and it recognizes that there's only 1 gallon in the tank because of our different flow sensors. So I'm going to have Evan come over, and he's going to help us demonstrate how to vend. So after selecting that you'd like to pump out 1 gallon, it tells you to turn on the manual gray valve, which Evan is doing right now. And after he completes this, you hit the down arrow to initiate the pump. So now, since it is done vending, you must close the gray manual valve, which Evan is doing right now. And it informs you that you have pumped out 1 gallon, and it asks and tells you to enjoy your cleaning. And you press OK to continue, and it brings you back to your message.
We decided to use this old Apple iPod cart that was previously used in the Benton Community School Corporation, and it came with these rails already included. It not only saved us money, but it saved us time working on the machine.
Okay, so here we have our moving wire rack, and inside we have 3 different levels of voltage. We have 120, 24, and this is 12 volts. Now, our 24 volts runs all of our inputs because it has a negative 24 volt common, and all of our outputs are run on 12 volts except for our generator, which is run by this, which is plugged into the 120 volt block up here.
So now we're going to show you how you make an HOCl cycle, a generation cycle. So we're at the options menu, so now we're going to press 1 to start an HOCl cycle. So now it's asking you to add 1 gallon of water to the container, which Evan and Logan will now do. Asks you to add the 1 gallon first, and then you will add your necessary salt and vinegar, because we found that if you added the salt and vinegar first, it would fall down into our pump and wouldn't get properly agitated and mixed into the solution. So now Nick is going to add our salt and vinegar that is needed. Our tablespoon is over here, which he's grabbing. So now he will put in exactly 2 tablespoons of salt and 4 tablespoons of vinegar. Hit OK to tell it that you did add the salt and vinegar, which Nick just did, and ask for a confirmation message because this is a very important part. And now you must add 4 more gallons of water. So as you add it, it will tell you that you've added so much and how much more you need to keep filling. And after you hit 5 gallons is when it will start our generation cycle. So now that we have filled the completely 5 gallons of distilled water, it tells you that you have filled it, and it tells you to stop filling, and tells you to press OK to begin the generation cycle, which will turn on our generator. So I'm going to press OK, and then it takes an hour and a half, and it'll just count up, and it will beep at you, and the light will turn off once your cycle is done.
Once you have run the cycle, you can come here to the side and grab the pH wand, and you can check the pH level. Ideally, this pH level should be between 5 and 6. And we have a magnet on here and a sensor over here so that the machine knows you've checked the pH level.
So this is the 5-gallon bucket that holds all of our solution. There are 5 float sensors in the back, horizontal float sensors for each gallon mark. There is one vertical float sensor in the bottom to tell us when it is empty and you need to refill it. This is our pump right here mounted to the bottom. It's very easy because the bucket tapers to it so that we can get all the solution out. We have a valve right here, manual valve for the hose, and a release valve at the bottom to get whatever's left of the solution out. And you can check to make sure all of these are working in our debug mode up here.
Throughout building this project, we encountered a lot of problems with our inclusion of water in our machine, such as down at the bottom when we have this manual valve here. Before, we had a electrical valve that had a mechanical failure, so we had to change that out. And like Evan said earlier, we have vertical float sensors or horizontal float sensors along the side, and then we have a vertical one on the bottom. We had a lot of problems with sealing those holes up because if we had a leak, then our tank would drain overnight or over the period of it running through the cycle, and that would not be good for our product.
So in conclusion, we created a machine that produces hypochlorous acid to help sanitize the classrooms.
We are the Nifty Nerdler Nanoline team from Benton Central Junior Senior High School in Oxford, Indiana. For our project, we are taking used polypropylene hangers and turning them into flat stock for our classroom Glowforge and our CNC machine. We first place our hangers through the 15 amp shredder on the left side of our cart. Once the shredder's bin is full, a sensor will shut it off and the machine operator will get a uniform amount of shredded plastic from it and place it into the toaster oven. Once softened and moldable, the pan will be transferred to the press on top of the cart. Sensors will then tell if the pan is in place and that it's being pressed properly. Once the plastic is through these steps, the final product comes out as flat sheets.
I'm Eric Dashman and I'm lead build and lead design. Some of our larger components consist of a 15 amp garden shredder, a 1050 watt oven toaster, and a 60 watt linear actuator press, which we use to press our plastic into our sheets that we make.
On the left side of our machine, we have our large nanoline display and our wiring box housing all of our nanoline components. My name is Thaddeus Foster, and I headed up wiring and programming. Here is our controller and one digital I/O expansion, as well as step power for 120 and 12 volt. Down here is a large relay, which we have one mounted inside the shredder controlling that, since the amperage rating on the nanoline controller is too low to control such high current draw components. There's also lights, which we use as warning and positive light mounted on the outside of the box, and a load reversing relay which controls the press of our machine.
My name is Jolene Morris, and as the team's technical communication specialist, one of my jobs was to create an operator's manual. This is because we are going to be placing our cart inside of our classroom for future student use. Now, before the students are able to turn it on and run it at all, they need to read, understand, and test over the operator's manual. Some other safety features we included in our machine was when running the heavy machinery like the shredder, you need to be standing on a foot pedal to make sure that you're out of the way and that you will not get hurt. We also have a switch on our door so that while the shredder is running, you cannot have the door open, which you can see right here. And finally, our last safety feature is an emergency stop. Now this is to cease all action if there were to be some sort of mistake happening or a troubleshooting occurs. Now if you put it down, you hear a really loud sound, and that'll let the user know to stop what they're doing and fix the problem.
Hello, I'm Justin Lumker and I will be demonstrating the actual running of the machine. So to start, we ground up polypropylene hangers, or number 5 hangers. To start, we have to go and put them in small pieces so they actually fit in the machine. And then making sure you have safety glasses and all things on the foot pedal and everything. We go and turn on the machine. One starts the shredder. So after we finish shredding, the hangers come out like this, in small, mostly pieces. After which we go and scoop a few into a pan. We don't have a specified amount quite yet, but we will soon. And we place said pan in our oven. After about 15 minutes at 350 degrees, the plastic will have melted, and you can, making sure you have heat-resistant gloves on, take it out and put it underneath the press to flatten it. This is our final product that we get from our machine, and what we do with it is we take it and put it in our blowforge. We do have to tape it down because the suck from the vent that is pumping out the fumes is too powerful and it will cause it to move during the engraving process. So all you have to do is go to the Glowforge website, import our artwork or image or whatever we're trying to cut or grave, line it up where we want it on the sheet, set our settings and materials, hit print, and then once it's ready, hit the button, and then you're good to go.
Hi,
And welcome to PAM.
and this is Vending 3D. It's a machine to store 3D printing material in a safe environment to keep humidity out. Now what you do, if you come over here with me, here's the controller. Now you can either select OK to check and you can turn on the lights, you hit OK, or you can select right to move on and select your column and row to pick where you want to put your cartridge or take your cartridge out, or you can click here for a light show. Now we're going to move on. Now it says use keypad numbers to select columns. So if you go over to the main area, say you want to select column 5, so you hit 5. Then it wants you to pick your row. If you come over here, it says use keypad numbers to select row. So then if you come back over here, right now you only have 2 options. You have 1 or 2. Which one do you want?
1.
I would like this one.
1. We'll do 1.
All right.
And there's 1. And then you look where they meet, and that's your cell that you pick.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Much appreciated.